Hi folks, this is Rose from In Rose's Garden, and today we are going to work on making some fairy ear blanks. Now this is one I have here. It's too thin of wire because it won't be strong, and it's not that strong. But this is my sample. So there is what it looks like. There is a little curve here so that this piece can go behind your ear and it snugs up to the back of your ear, and this piece is the piece you decorate that goes to the front. So let's get started. I have got some 14 gauge wire. This is actually heavier than I want. I usually use 16, and I believe this one here is 18, though it might be 20. But I couldn't find any 16, so we're going to work with our 14 here. So what we need is 12.5 inches of wire. So I'm going to, that one's got a rough spot right there. So we're going to measure 12.5 inches out. Actually, maybe a little bit of extra. I'd rather have a little extra than not enough. So we've cut off our 12.5 inches of wire. So the first thing we need to do is to build this back portion here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our bell making pliers. I'm going to take these and we're going to form this little loop here. So put our pliers in and just form a simple loop around. Now you'll notice I went a little further than all the way just to the edge, and we're gonna put that like this. That keeps it from getting too large, as you can see. So then we're going to just take our finger and rub around until we start getting this curve. Once we've got that started, we can take our wire bail and just sort of curve it around more, like so. So we have this loop that will go around your ear. Now, when we get to about right here, as you can see, we're about right here, and we need to we need to get it a little more curved, and that's fine. We can do that easily enough by just warming it with our finger and just rubbing it, and it will automatically start to curve. So you can see we're about right here. Not quite, but we're getting close to where we want to put this little notch over at. So see how there we're doing that? So we'll bring it down just a little bit more, like so. Now about right here, we're going to get our flat nose pliers. Now I want one with a slightly larger bend place here, and we're going to do one bend, and then we're going to do a second bend going this direction. Now, is this exactly the way we want it? No, because we need this wire to be going the opposite direction, to be going over here. So what we'll do is we'll take hold of this and we'll twist it over so it is facing this direction here. And we have then got our little piece here. Then we'll take our pliers again, take hold like so, and give us a little bend like so. Ta-da! Now this is the part that goes over the front of your ear. So we have that base right there. So here we go. It looks like so. Now this piece is going to go up and we need it to come up the same as this one. And then when we get up here towards the top, we're going to then put a bend in here. Now this is going to be a very sharp bend because that is our fairy's ear. See how it's right up there at the top there? Now then this one comes down and we put a loop on it. This is this piece right here. And actually I don't have this rounded as much as it should be, so I'm going to round it some. So this is our ear. We need it to come closer in like here, because we want it to be here where our other earpiece is at. Round this a bit. Now we're going to curve this one, and we're going to wrap it the same as we did the other one, going beyond the place where it should sit, and then we're going to there we go. So there is our base piece all finished. And now we need to make a second one, which will, needs to be rounded out right here, so it's sort of more like the back here. And just sort of round it as you go along. So that is our front. Now as you can see, I have these are not quite the same as far as our loops are concerned. Let's see if we can. Now it is about the same as far as the height and things. But this one is in further. It's tucked over, and that's because this one, which is our base, our behind the ear one, which is a little bit shorter than the one we have here, is this one's not coming in as good of an arc as the other one is there. So we'll just arc that some. And now we'll just sort of spread these out some because they're pretty close together. Though actually when you're wearing them, it won't make that big of a difference. But then there we go. There is our first one. Now to make the second one, because you will need two, one for each ear obviously. Now this one is actually going the way we want our next one to go. See how easily that's bent? That's why we're going with some heavier wire. So we, as you can see, this is right like so. It's a little bit different, but not too much. So this piece, like I say, goes behind your ear, and then where this is at is where your ear comes down into there to keep it from, this piece goes into the front. So this piece is on front, and you have, this is the piece we're going to decorate. So here is piece, the base one. So this is the opposite direction. As you can see, this one is the earpiece that goes behind is in the front, and this one is in the back. So the next one we made needs to be opposite to this one, so it would be like this one. So let's put this one aside. And we need to get another 12.5-inch piece of wire. We have our wire out, and I think actually I may have made this about 13 inches. If you do, that's fine. It's not a problem. I'm going to cut this nasty kink off the end of my wire here. So I love these pliers, cutters. They are Xuron cutters, and they were given to me by one of my Heather Aston of Tee's Trinkets and Treasures, and she thought I might like them, and she's very right, I do. They make a double flush cut, so you don't have to do the second little cut when you're making it, having to make a cut. So we want to make this about right here. So we'll put our wire aside and our ruler, and here we are with our piece of wire. Now again, like I said, we want to make this opposite of what we've got here. So again, we'll make that first loop and turn it around, go a little beyond so that it can be pushed into place right here. See, it's not quite what we want it to look like from this side, but it is going to be behind, so it's not going to be that big of an issue. But it's did a bump there, which is irritating to me. So now what we want to do is we're again going to make this loop, this inner loop. So we'll just take our thumb, warm it, push it around. As you're warming it, it's going to automatically start to turn like so. And I really don't like this, excuse me, this bump this is created right here. So I'm going to take my flat nose pliers, we're going to go in here and we're going to sort of squish it out. Now, once I rewind, that's going to try and do that again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the very end of this loop off, just a little bit. But they tend to square out if you don't have them that piece rounded enough. And there we go. That's much better. I think that looks more like what we had there in the first place. So now we are doing our rounding, like I said, and we want to get our wire mandrel out. And I use the handle because we want a pretty big loop here. So now I've got this done. We're going to compare it to our other one here. This is where we're comparing from. As you can see, this new one is not as high. It needs to go up a little bit. See how it's a little bit lower? So we're going to bring this up some, and then we'll round this side off more because it's not as rounded. So here we are. Let's see how we're doing. We want them pretty much the same. They don't have to be identical, but they do have to be pretty close. So we're right here. And as you can see, we're up too high. So what we're going to do is just bring our fingers through and bring that down. That's pretty good there. But now we have this portion is over too far. So we're going to see if we can't get it to match up better. So we'll bring this up. Let me grab it. There we go. Bring that together. And we're still a little bit too much, so we're just going to bring it up because we're going to just, as we're working, we're just going to bring it that direction. And as you can see, now we are pretty close to what we've got there. So now our next step is to take and make that bend. But we don't want it to go this direction. We want it, well, this is the opposite direction, so this is fine. We're going to take that bend and put the bend in, take the bend and do the other bend. Down. There we go. There's our two bends. And now we're going to see how close we are to that one again. So now we've got that wire right there at the same exact spot. We want to make sure we're doing all right here. We are, though I think we may be up just a little too high because that wire is not quite there. You see what I mean? We're going to put this down here again. Now see how this goes pretty good here, from here to here. But now it's up here above. It should be down here where this little curve is at. So we've got it up too high. So we're going to bring our wires, straighten it out as much as we can. Take our flat nose pliers and again straighten. Now you are probably going to make some marring marks on your wire. Now if that's the case, I wouldn't worry about it too much. Number one, this is the piece that's going behind. So it's not that big of a deal. So this is where we're going. This is our first bend that goes over this way. So we need to come down. Now let me show you what I mean here. See, we're right here. So we're right here. This is where that bend was at, but that's the bend that we make here where we have our bend to bring it around your ear. So you can put that there if you want, but if you do, then you need to remember that your next bend, see like this, has got to go right here, and it goes back the other direction. So right here, you put this here, and then you've got to bend again. So let's see, we want this opposite, so yep. Here. Nope, come on. Bend here. I think this is okay. Nope, that's wrong. No, it's right. Now that you got that bend in, this is your bend where it curves around. So you need to put now another bend in. And you're actually even going to put another bend in. And what that does is you need to now bring, excuse me, these are going to come back together, but they're going to be down like so. So you have to bring them up here, and then this one is going to be going upwards. So it needs to bend up this direction. See, like that. There we go. So now we have our piece. Should be pretty much, come on wire, you're in the way. See how it's pretty much now where this one is, down below. So now we need to get a little rounding right here because it's not very round. And we want to go up and get to about where the point is on this one. But in order to do that, we have to get this one rounded some because it's not going to be the same shape, and so your point isn't going to be in the same spot if you can't get a little rounding right here. So now that I've got that little bit of rounding in, see, it's much closer to where the other one is. So now, since we do have the rounding in, we've got the ends done. We've got it to, this right here is where we bend downwards. So we'll just take it right here, push our pin, and then bing, go around and down. Now let's see how we did. It looks like it might be just a teeny tad bit higher than the other one. So you've got a choice here. It's not much higher, I don't think. Let's see. well, a little bit. So you can either A, try and get that bend closer to where you want it to be at, or you can just start rounding, because if it's a little rounder, it's going to come in different. Why do you want to do a kink right there? I don't want a kink right there. So we've got this here. Get these matched up. It's a little bit off, but barely. See how how close I've got it now? Actually, it's pretty darn good. Now this one has got to, is rounded out, but it's rounded more than the one below. And we need to get it over there more. You can see this one is much pulled in much further than this one is. So you've got an option. You can keep this more rounded like this, and then get this one more rounded as well. Like so. Ta-da. See, now we're going to put that in here. It's going to go here. This is down and around. This one is much more. Oh, we got to go from this one. Now, see, this one is got a little bit more, but not a whole crap load more than that one. So, not bad. Now we want to take our plier and we want to do our wrap here. And dang well, we don't want that kink if we can help it. So we're going to pull this back out some because it wanted to do that kink, which, see that little loop right there, which we didn't like in the original one. So we want to try and trim just a little teeny bit off the end here. Oops, there we go. And then we're going to pull this in, and we're going to really try and round that out better. That's making a mess. Okay. Sharply right there. Come on. Now. Okay. Now let's see if what we need to do as far as repairs are concerned to get these to be the same. Now see this, or close to the same anyway. They're going to be on opposite sides of your head, so you won't notice it as much, but turn you, you're there. Now see this one, even though the outer piece is still pretty good. See, I've got them right there. This one is looking like it's higher, but it's not really, because we checked it, but it's a little bit. And this one also comes down more of a bow here than this one does, so we need to bring this up some, like so. And this one is over here quite a ways. So I'm going to, this is not, come on you, there we go. So let's see what we've got going on now. Now see how much different those are. That I don't like that, so we're going to have to see they're different areas, so we're going to have to round this one out more so that it will go and match that one where it's sitting at better. There, though it's got a bow right here in it. So we go here, go up and over. See, they're pretty good there. And now as they come down, we have well, one is shorter than the other one by a long shot, and it's more curled in. So we need to curl this one in a little more and see what we got. And as you can see, the difference in the length. So we're going to need to get this one up here because it is down lower. And we're probably going to want to trim some off. So, even though this one has the nicer curl, this is the one that is too long. See how we're difference in length there? Quite a bit. Even though this side seems to be pretty good. So we need to, this is too far out here, so I want it over here more. So we're going to have to take off about, let's see, out of the loop, we're going to cut about, save so much out. Bing. Then we will, let's see about reforming this loop somewhat. And see how they are to side again. So up to the top, and they're about in the same spot now, except one of them still is more rounded than the other. So we want to make sure that they are approximately the same, because once you start decorating them, they are going to become more obvious if they're not more closely related, so to speak. Okay, so you need to get some rounding right here. Come on, let me get that. Now what I'm doing is I'm taking a little bit more of the loop out of here, because what I want to do is try and get this evened out some so it looks a little closer to its buddy over here on the other side. So we're going to take hold of it. Well, if I can get a good hold. We're going to wrap this properly. Okay, let's see what we get. Okay, there we go. Fairy ears, one going one way, one going the other. So now it's just time to decorate them. Now, if you feel these need to become together more, just go ahead and push them together. I pulled the one apart so that it was had more. See how this one's much more apart than this one, so we need to get our wires to behave and go down closer to each other. So they go this way, of course. There's 1 and 2. And now we just have to decorate them. Here we go. There is our fairy ear blanks. Ta-da! And how these work is, well, got to get them apart a little bit because they are a little snugged, is you take these and you take this piece right here, and it goes in the front, right about where your earlobe is here. You take your earlobe and you pull it through so it's between the two pieces of wire, so that this one here is hanging down behind your ear, this one is sitting in front. And then your earlobe should be in front of this wire of the front one. My earlobe doesn't want to sit inside properly, but once it's decorated, the pieces that decorate it will actually help it stay in place, with your earlobe being, your ear itself being in front, with this piece being behind. This sits on top. So just like that. So we will need to decorate these to make a nice set, but there we go. There is our blank set, our first blank set of fairy ears. Just like so. Aren't those cute? And that is what we're going to do with those. And I hope you enjoyed doing those with me. Now the next thing I'm probably going to need to do is paint some pieces to go on these. I'll put filigree across, a filigree piece here, and then I'll put some kind of decorative piece on it, like maybe this thistle, like so, or who knows, some flowers, a double shamrock, some fairies, whatever we decide to use as the decorative pieces for our fairy ears. So there we go. One set. This has been Rose from In Rose's Garden, and we'll see you when we come back to work on our fairy ears. Bye-bye.